Hello and welcome to my art desk. I'm going to be showing you today one of the ways that I set up a nature journal page in my Strathmore notebook here. So obviously, since I'm sitting at a desk, we are indoors, and that might seem um, like that doesn't match up with the idea of nature journaling too much. Um, But there's no wrong way to do nature journaling. And I love to sit outdoors and observe and sketch, do field sketching, but it doesn't always work out for me to get to do that as often as I would like. So another way that I build my nature journal is to take pictures or maybe just some quick notes and then work on it actually doing the spread when I have time indoors. And today it's super rainy as well. So it's nice to be cozy and inside. Um, the I'll go over some of the supplies that I'm using today first. So this is just a Strathmore 500 series mixed media paper notebook. And this was purchased from Michael's. Um, and this is the third of these types that I have used, and I do really like them. For nature journaling, they hold up to watercolor quite well. Um, and they're affordable. They're a really nice size. You can, without too much work, get them to lay pretty flat. And it's a nice heavyweight paper, but it's also not super textured. So it's good for pen and pencil work as well as the paint. So I'm going to be using that for my nature journal, and I will talk more about this in just a minute. And then one of the other things that I'm using is this is an art toolkit. Um, I received this for Christmas this year. So it hasn't even been used very much, and it's still really nice and clean. Um, I'll show you what's inside. So some of the things in here are items that it came with, and some things are what I have added into it. So today, eventually we will get to watercoloring, and this is the little palette that came with the art toolkit that I'm super excited to have something this lightweight and portable. We'll be using a water brush today. I will be using the little spritzer for the paint, and I'll be using a variety of the Micron pens and pencil. I'm going to take a couple of these clips off as well. I do think we'll need a couple of clips. So back to a little bit about this particular notebook. So I have more than one nature journal going on at a time, and I had decided last year in the spring, so it would have been 2024 in the spring, that I wanted to get a journal and make it totally dedicated to any flora or fauna that we actually see on our own property. So I'm not taking this journal and adding um, anything into it from other hikes and other locations. It has to be something that we saw on our property. And I think that's just going to make it a really wonderful keepsake to have a journal that's can be flipped through and just see what's been on our own land. So I have added some stickers onto it. So we'll jump in here. So the spread that I am wanting to get started, and I'm not making any promises about finishing it in this video, is a really fun sighting that happened it was just about a month ago. And I actually I cannot take credit for taking these photos. One of my sons was home, and he noticed our dog acting strangely, and so he went to investigate and ignore the dishes in my sink. And out the kitchen window, this little blurby here, that is a red fox. And he went and got his nicer camera, and he was able through the windows to get some neat pictures of this little guy. I'll zoom in a little bit. And he was just sitting right in our backyard. All these photos, he was right at the edge of the woods, but he didn't stay there, and he went trucking around our yard. But these are the photos that I have to be working from. And he's just beautiful. His fur looks really lush and healthy. Oops. But just such a neat sighting. And we don't have any chickens right now, so we didn't have to worry about him coming to try to have our chickens as his lunch. So we just enjoyed looking at them. So I want to add a spread about the red fox into my nature journal. And how I tend to approach my nature journaling is I will see something, or in this case it was a family member, but close enough. And I like to add a drawing or painting of whatever it is, whether it is a plant or a mushroom or a bird or whatever it is. I do like to do a drawing or painting of it. And if most of the time it's only things that I've observed, so I will include anything that I noticed while looking at the item or while watching the creature. So I will add information like that. And then I like to get out a field guide and look up and try to find some kind of new information that I didn't know about the item. And something that, I'm not trying to like rewrite the whole field guide, but just kind of skimming through the information about whatever type of flora or fauna I'm observing, and just make some notes about some things I didn't know about the flora or fauna. I also sometimes like to add things like Bible verses or parts of poems or hymns, something that the particular item that I'm nature journaling about, something that has some kind of an association for me. So I do like to add some text like that into my journal pages. So this is the photo that I'm going to use for my drawing today, but we'll come back to that. And I'm going to talk about laying out my page. Probably most of the time I just do a one-page spread, but for the fox, I think I'm going to do a two-page spread because I want to have lots of room, and I'm really excited about painting the fox too. So I think I'm going to kind of preserve this right side for the actual what's going to be hopefully a big finished drawing and painting of the fox. And then I want to reserve this side for information and probably a little thumbnail practice of the fox. Oh, and it was snowy here when the day that the fox was spotted, and I did go out and look, and I think that I got a picture of footprints that belong to the fox. So I am going to double check my photo with the field guide, and if it looks like a match, um, I will, I want to have a space to draw out what their footprints look like as well. So I think I'm going to use, because sometimes it's nice to have things sectioned off. I think I'm going to use my Art Toolkit paint palette box. And, oops, I gotta take this clip off. And go ahead and make a text box up here in the corner. Oh, I think I want a pen for this. All right, I'm going to use the sepia 05 Micron pen for creating my little text box. And I'm not worried too much about having any of this be perfect. It can all look a little sketchy, but still have some things sectioned off and contained. So I think I want that. And I think I'm going to use, this is just a little pad of sticky notes, but it's a nice square shape. So I think I'm going to use that and make a little window down here that will be dedicated for what fox tracks look like. And I have already chosen part of a hymn, so I think I'm gonna just write that around where I do my fox painting over here. Let's see. Oh, I know. I want to do a little thumbnail or a little practice sketch of the fox. So I'm going to make a little box kind of going in the portrait orientation. Right. So I think that is a good place to start. So I'm going to start with my thumbnail. Oops. And I'm going to have my photo up there that I can take a look at. And just going to come and use this section to do a practice of the bigger picture of the fox that I want to do over here. So I'm going to take a look at my photo and I'll show you one more time. I'm going to do his little profile there. And I'm going to use probably most of this space and just trying to get a feel for the contours of his body. I'm going to start at his nose. I probably could zoom this in just a little bit. I hope. So I'm going to start with his little nose. Has a little slant up to his little forehead. And this ear that's closest to me has a little curve right at the tip. So I'll get that's adjusted in, and then you can see a little bit of the top of his head and that ear on the other side peeking out. Oops, that's too pointed. It's rounded. And then I'm not worried about all the fur texture and things right now. I'm just trying to get his overall shape. I'll come back here under his jaw. And I'm gonna want to go back. His nose is a little bit more pointed than when I was first getting. And then his chest and his side is coming down, and I can just barely see like that the front edge of his foreleg coming down back here too. I'm just looking at my photograph and just trying to follow the outside edges of the fox's body. His tail is kind of coming, it actually disappears because there's some branches down that he was sitting behind. I don't think I'm going to get to do, yeah, I better draw that branch in. So there is a branch blocking part of, well, I guess it's not just a branch, it's a downed log blocking part of his body. That's touching the ground. I can see a little bit of like his hip there. There's a little space where that front leg is going down. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in, which when I zoom in, oops, the picture gets very, very fuzzy. But honestly, that's kind of helpful because I'm not trying to be incredibly detailed here. I'm just trying to get the overall shape of him. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of outline where the really bright white fur is on the side of his cheek. His eye is like right in here. That white comes up, goes down his throat. Get a little more sketchiness going. Yeah, so this go over, I am doing a little bit more texturing that I see on his fur. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good first run. And before I go on to anything else, I'm gonna look at the photo again, but this time more looking at values and looking for areas that are dark, either because they're dark in color or just because they're in shadow of some kind. I'm gonna do a little bit of a value study here, just thinking about, all right, where on this fox are things dark and where are the light areas? He's got some, like, I don't know if he's got like a cowlick there or not, but his fur is looks kind of like it's kind of ruffled up there. There's definitely, he's got his winter coat because he looks nice and fluffy. And his tail, I'm not real happy with how his tail is laying right there. But his tail, the fur is darker. I keep going to erase, but there's no eraser on the end of this. Clean up that area just a little bit. Front leg has a lot of black on it. And in that tree branch that's down, it looks like it's really rotten on the bottom. So there's a lot of dark. Branch over here. There's some little branches coming up around him. Other tree branch. I don't know if if that branch is going to make it to the final cut. But there is another branch going off this way, or downed log. It's real dark on the other side of his tail. Okay. All right. I think that's good for a little thumbnail sketch of him. So the next thing I want to look at is I'm going to compare the picture of the tracks that I took that I think is from this guy with the pictures in the book. So this, I should talk about this book. This is a really, really nice resource to have. It's called Tracking in the Art of Seeing, How to Read Animal Tracks and Sign by Paul Resendez. And I got this back when my kids were still young enough that we were homeschooling. They're all graduated and adults now, by the way. And we use this as a resource for school. And I love this book so much. Just got it used somewhere. But it has a lot of really helpful qualities to it that some field guides don't have. One is it's a nice size, so it will lay here flat and open. And some of the little field guides, they're really it's hard to lay them flat to draw from. But so this is the section. I already found the section from the dog family. It does have some beautiful photography. It has lots of information about the red fox. It does about all the species in here. It has this is a close-up photo of a front foot of the fox with his 5 toes. Lots of fuzzy fur. Okay, now this is what is helpful. So these red fox tracks in the snow show the smaller hind track left and the front track right. Notice that the bar in the front track is boomerang shaped. Okay, so a little detail like that can help me as I'm trying to identify the tracks that I saw. It does have a whole section about trail patterns. These are really helpful when you're looking at tracks in whether it's in mud or sand or snow, and you're trying to figure out who they belong to. Sometimes it's helpful to read these sections because they talk about the typical gait of the animal as far as which feet are hitting the ground first, and the distance that you should expect to be between the prints. So all sorts of helpful things with figuring this out. So down here it has these diagrams that show in general 14 inches to 21 inches in between the prints, and it also is a nice drawing of what the prints look like. So I did not pull up my picture of prints. Let's see if I can find that. Here we go. Okay, so here's my photo of the prints, and I've got, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. And then, but this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, yeah, I do think that this belongs to the fox because his back feet are a little bit bigger and all 5 toes are visible, but his front feet, which does have 5 toes, but it isn't always visible in the prints um because of the fur and such. So I'm pretty sure that I did get pictures of the little fox's prints. So what I want to do next is, and I'm going to just do a little quick, I think I'm just going to go ahead and use my pen. And I'm just going to do a little sketch. 1, 2, 3, 4. That back pad kind of looks like. Okay. Front paw and back paw. I think I'll start with the pad. I think that would be my little toenails drawn. And I can always come back later and add in some paint if I would like. And I'm going to make a note that these tracks end up being 14 to 21 inches apart. So do you think that will be some valuable information? Okay. So up here, I want to add the scientific name, and I want to make like a heading. So I think for today, I'm just going to do a simple font with some double lines. There. And then I'll add the scientific name here in a bit. Okay. So I think we're off to a good start here. I've got plenty of room to add more decoration and to add more information as well. Oh, so gotta decide, am I ready to jump in to my actual drawing? I think I am. So I'm gonna pause the video and get some of this drawn in, and then we'll be back for painting. Okay, I've got my sketch in, and now I'm ready to start adding color. I'll probably just pop some music for the top of this because I'm not so sure that I can talk and paint today. Okay, I think we are ready to add some color to this guy. So I'm pretty sure that I have the perfect box color in this palette. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to stop here for now and let this dry, and then I'll be ready to add my lines from the hem and look up some interesting information about the red fox. So I think I'm going to have to make a part 2 of this. So thank you for joining me.